Hello YouTube, Devin here again, and what I have in front of you is probably one of my favorite helmet designs to come out of the World War II era, and it's an incredibly simple, incredibly rugged design, and continued to be used in one form or another up until like the 90s. So this is the Czech M32 helmet. Sorry, I'll get into the variations in it later. But this is essentially a steel bowl. They call it the Eggshell Helmet, as it's been known. It was used by the Free Czech Army and the Czech Resistance, and in World War II. The first design came out in 1932, and it was pretty much this shell, kind of painted a drab green color. And it had a 5-tongue leather liner and just a simple slider buckle chin strap. Nothing could go wrong on this. It was a very effective helmet. It was very cheap and very easy to produce. It's made out of decent quality steel. You find a lot of them with some surface rust on them, despite being this old. And the steel on them is pretty thin. So as thin as it is, it was pretty good steel, and it fulfilled its job for what it had to do. A lot of countries use these. The Slovakian army, which was different from the Czech army in World War II, and Yugoslavia used it to some extent. They got a bunch of these somehow in World War II, and you find them all over, even in the Russian hands sometimes. So, but it's just a oval-shaped helmet. There's nothing special to it. There's no special slope. There's no special taper. It's literally just a bowl. Take a look at the liner here. Now, this is the refurbished liner from like the late 50s, and the leather pads were replaced with tarpaulin pads, which is they bind plastic to fabric. So, and it's pretty much something you see in a lot of Russian helmets. A lot of later Soviet bloc helmets, you can kind of hear that. It's got that kind of vinyl-y noise to it. It's textured. The problem with these is when they get hot and then they get really cold, they tend to crack and they tend to erode. The chin strap on it is leather, and it's pretty dry. You can see the whatever powder that they threw on it to keep stuff away from it and to keep mold and stuff off of it still on it. This helmet's brand new. I just picked it up from the post office today after they lost it for forever. You can see the 5 pads. Now, the one pad that comes right in the center is the front, and the 2 in the back show you that it's the rear, because there's really no distinguishing other than that between the front and the rear, since the chin strap is mounted right in the center, and so you have to use the pads to determine which way you're supposed to wear it. So, and these came in 2 sizes. This is size medium, which gets up to like a size 58 or like a 7 1/4 US size, and then there's a size large, which is for everything above that. So if you wear a 7 1/4 or less, you will wear a medium. If you wear greater than a 7 1/4 or greater than a 58, you will wear a large. So these helmets survived the test of time. They still have a ceremonial use, I believe, with the Czech army. They replaced the Model 29 technically in service, but when Germany invaded the Czechoslovakia, they started making the M29s again because they liked that design better. And you see a lot of like air guards, and even later on some SS troops using the Model 29 helmet. And these kind of got pushed by the wayside, but then this became the standard helmet after the German occupying force left, because they had so many more of these than the Model 29s. So it's got 5 tongues. Well, it's got a 5-pad liner with 10 tongues, which means you can see each individual tongue there for crown adjustment. It's just held in place with a string. And it has little aluminum eyelets. So just to show you, it's kind of more modern. So the older ones would have not had eyelets, or they would have had brass or steel eyelets, very heavy eyelets on the leather pads, and the leather pads were kind of a light tan or an almost white, kind of natural off-white color suede pads. So and they would have been painted green. This one is black because it was updated in the late 50s to be a civil defense helmet. So these would have been used by like firefighters, and they would have sat in armories for police use, and the National Guard would have probably used these if there was ever another huge major conflict. These would have been in reserve stock for a long time, and that's why you find a lot of these black ones in really, really nice condition. And a lot of the ones that you could find out there that are restored are usually these black ones that have been repainted over green and had the liners, the original pads put back in them. So be very wary somebody trying to pass one off as an original. A lot of these are original shells, but it's hard to tell whether they were updated or not, and a lot of it is you can judge by the size of the rivets. Now, the chin strap rivet should be larger than the rivets holding the pads in, and each pad is only held in place by one rivet. Okay, some of the later ones that people have updated will be held in place with 2 rivets, so that's one way to tell if that it's a fake or a reproduction. I don't know why you would want to spend that money on a fake or a reproduction anyways, because they're about the same cost as an original. So maybe it's just for the collector's market and stuff like that, but whatever. You can get an original for pretty cheap. So, and you will oftentimes find that the rivets are loose on the reproduction ones too, because they don't seat them right. So, but all in all, it's a very, very good, very rugged helmet design. It's probably one of the better designs of World War II as far as cheap cost goes, and you know, everything like that, because it was simple. It was probably one of the cheapest helmets of World War II to produce, and it was easy to adjust to wear with a winter hat. It was easy to size because they only made 2 sizes, and there's nothing really to go wrong on these. So they're probably one of the most rugged designs, and it's one of my favorites because of that. It's so simple and so easy to manufacture and so easy to use, and it's effective because it's got a nice slope to it, so it'll bounce rounds and shrapnel a lot easier. It's got a wide enough taper on it from the crown to give you a nice amount of coverage. It covers your nape, it covers your ears as much as you can without obstructing your hearing, and it's something that seems like it was just thrown together. It actually works extremely well, and it's hard to find something like that they just got right like this the first time. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I'll give you one last spin around of it here to take a look, and we'll leave it there. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. Leave a like, leave a comment if there's any additional information, or if you have one of these or anything like that. I'd love to see it. If you want to see any topics for future videos, drop me a line. See if I can make that happen for you. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.